Happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Sunday. The music kind of came out of nowhere. Normally he kind of like gears it up for a second and all of a sudden it just started for me. I was like, oh, I guess we're live. So anyways, we're talking about there's 3 articles that I want to like kind of give you little snippets of. First one, you probably saw in the thumbnail, Yahoo News has experts that are saying there's going to be absolutely no crash. Then there are a couple other articles that say something otherwise. And then there's a few things I want to discuss with you that have come to light, and especially here in the Louisiana area. And decided to make me a little sketch. So anyways, let's get into the first article. I see there lawnmowers here. Debbie Brady's here. Eric the Blue. Hello, happy Sunday. SB is here. Mountain Tactical is here. MH08 is here. Donna R is here. Sue Jackson is here, and Wes is here. Hello, everybody. This is not the article, Eddie. The article is from Yahoo News. That is not this article. Whoopsie. Uh-oh. Yeah, the article is from Yahoo News that says the experts say there's going to be no crash. Poor Eddie. Yahoo Finance. Thank you. Yes. So I did change my hair color. If you notice in the thumbnail, it's still blonde. I haven't made new thumbnail images. My husband told me my blonde hair made me look old. So I decided to go red. This is not the color I intended to go. So I'm not 100% happy with it, but whatevs. It's just hair. It will grow. I was very upset last night because it looked purple. So I fixed that since then. I don't know if you guys know, I'm an ex-hairdresser. So sometimes I get a little wild streak and I'll do things myself. And I did it myself. And I'm telling you, it was mahogany. It was purple. And then I fixed it this morning because it was so dreadful. So dreadful. But now I have to change my lighting because my hair is dark. My face looks like pasty. Eddie, if it's the third article that it's the one I sent you today. It's do you want me to pull it up? Oh, hello, Teflon Don. Thank you so much. Yep. I play GTA on my PS5. Crashes happen sometimes. Yeah, they do. All right. I think Eddie's having trouble finding this article. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on the screen. Okay. When the housing market crashes. When the housing market crashes. What experts say. Say Yahoo News. Gotta look it up. Yahoo News. It's not coming up for me either. I just pulled it up this morning, and don't tell me they pulled it down. That would be something. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna go ahead and present it ourselves here. Okay. Oh, Eddie did find it. Never mind. All right. When will the housing market crash again? This is what the experts are saying. If you scroll down a scotch, Eddie, it will say start with the line that's on the. All right. Stop right there. There are no signs that the U.S. housing market is about to crash. In fact, the economic outlook and expectations for the real estate market nationally are positive for 2024. A housing crash occurs when demand drops dramatically and home values tumble. Unless there's a significant surge in the rate of unemployment, which is currently not in the forecast. The housing market is expected to continue to rebound from 2023 lows. I didn't even realize it was lows. Not many people that were buying houses in 2023 thought they got a low price. Chief economist of real estate analytics from CoreLogic in an email. Okay, Eddie, scroll up just a scotch. Scroll back up. Okay, stay right there. So what they're saying is that there are no signs about a crash unless there's unemployment. There are two things that I think that all of these experts have not put into consideration. So Eddie, I want you to pull up the article that I had from the Louisiana. Are you able to pull that up? It's the insurance crisis impacting the housing market in Louisiana that raises big worries. That one from NOLA.com. Because in Louisiana, we have a completely different problem, but we're not the only state that has this issue. And I think other states need to take notice of what's going on in Louisiana, because this could be happening in your area as well. So pay attention to your local news, not just the national news when it comes to this. As Eddie's trying to find that article, what it says is that in Louisiana, we are the number one state with homes that are underwater, meaning that they owe more than the house is worth today, mostly in the New Orleans area. And it says this is what's really impacting people from, first of all, purchasing. It says insurance is stressing every aspect of the market, including buying, owning, selling, and renting. The rates charged by Citizens, the state-backed insurer of last resorts, whose rolls have swollen since Hurricane Ida in 2021, have claimed thousands of dollars per year on average. The data from Citizens this week showed a little of improvement, with premiums rising by hundreds of dollars in the past year for policyholders. Nearly 27,000 Citizens customers in New Orleans are paying an average of $5,445 a year. $5,445 a year. That is for little houses. I'm talking we're not talking 2,000 square feet. We're talking 1,000 to 1,200 square feet. Affordable housing groups are also struggling to help prospective buyers find homes within their budget. The group's homeowners are being crushed by rising monthly costs, and some are going without insurance. Many are looking for fortified roofs to save money. And here in Louisiana, if your roof is 10 years old and absolutely has zero damage even to it, you can walk on it, there's no gravel missing, you have had no storm damage, they're still charging you extra on top of it because it's over 10 years old. It doesn't matter if you have a 50-year roof. It doesn't matter if you have a 30-year roof. It does not matter. If it is 10 years old, you're paying more for homeowners insurance. A lot of people are forced to sell now because they got their tax bill in, and taxes have gone up, especially in New Orleans. My area is about to go up again because they passed some ridiculous rule on property taxes. And then you get this insurance bill in. We're not the only ones. Everybody across the country is seeing a higher raise in their insurance premiums. If you're in the Midwest, you're going to see a big change in your insurance premiums when you go to renew. And what's causing a lot of people, they're forced to sell because they're like, I can't do this. I'm not gonna be able to do this. Is it going to cause a crash this year? Absolutely not. But I think it's something that we all need to be taking a closer look at across the country, because a lot of people are on fixed incomes or they're living paycheck to paycheck. And if you go from a house payment that's $1,200 and now it's $2,200 for the same exact house with the same exact interest rate, a lot of people are not going to be able to pay that. So they're going to be forced to sell. And if we have a bunch of people that are being forced to sell, and then the new buyers come in and yeah, sure, they can afford the cost of that house, but the insurance is going to be too much. Where does that leave people? And so, I read in one of my comment sections one day is that they were like, well, you could just move. What, all of South Louisiana is supposed to move? I mean, you're talking about a whole regional area of a state. The whole region is facing this. The whole lower half of Louisiana is facing this. And it's not just Louisiana. Florida's facing it. California's facing it. If you're in a flood area, they're facing it. If you're in a tornado area, you're facing it. And even along the East Coast, because now they're increasing flood insurance policies as well. So, just because we live in Louisiana, we flood. We're not the only state that floods, because I was just in Connecticut and they have really increased flood insurance policies and how much they cost up through that area. Yeah. So, I don't think they're putting everything in perspective, these experts, when it comes to the signs of a housing crash. Not only that, they only are looking at the interest rate and builders' confidence in a lot of these articles, because for them, it's, that's what they say. Whenever the interest rates come down, they say, oh, now affordability is back. Affordability is not back when the house is still, the average median price of a home is still over $400,000. Now you're offering it at, 5%. Yeah. Well, that's not affordable when the house is $400,000 and the average American makes less than $75,000 a year. I'm talking about families, by the way, not just one single person. Average family, $75,000 a year. They can't even afford it. They can't even qualify for it. So, anyways, if you guys want to pipe in, you can pipe in at any time. Anybody, be careful. That's a good way to wake up missing a kidney or another body part. Yeah, Lawnmower was talking about my hair because Eddie told me my hair made me look old. My crystal ball says it won't crash. I think that we're due for a correction. I don't know if we'll ever see crash like we did in 08 and 09, those years. It really started in 07. There was whispers of it in 06, and these things happen over a progression of several years. It isn't just 1 year and then it's over. And then it's always affects areas differently. When I lived in Orlando, man, they were the first to go up really high, and then they were the first to go down really low. And, they recovered though. That's still a very popular area that people want to move to. It recovered. The same with Las Vegas, the same with Phoenix, Arizona. During the last crash in 07, 08, 09, those areas saw the biggest decrease in price because they saw the biggest increase in price beforehand, but then they recover because they're very populated areas. I think that's probably what we're going to see with Austin, Texas, because they do have a lot of new home building. And they're seeing the biggest price corrections. And then we'll see what happens. I think there's no doubt they'll recover. They have too much industry. So what about the housing crash? What about supposed to be the soft landing? Who knows? That what I'm saying is there is signs that the housing market is cracking in some areas. Some cities are seeing more of a price correction than others. Some towns are seeing absolutely none. And even some areas of the country are still seeing multiple offers being done, which blows my mind. Usually, and it's true of any housing market, the lower end houses, the houses that cost the least amount of money, are always the ones that are continue to get picked up. Even during the last housing crash, the ones that were the cheapest were the ones that people were fighting over because they wanted the best deal. So no matter what the market is, those smaller homes that we're going to be still fighting for, because we don't build them. We don't build smaller houses. We build McMansions. And even if you look at home building today, they are making them smaller, but the price point that they're charging for those smaller houses is a whopper. I saw a video of a guy walking through this neighborhood, and they were double stacked houses, and they were 900 square feet, really skinny double stacked houses. So you had to walk up the stairs in order to get to the master bedroom. And they wanted $180,000 for those. $180,000 for a 900 square foot house in an area that doesn't ridiculous. Price per square foot, it was ridiculous. Yeah, new hair color, very pretty. I'm tuning in. Oh, these are my Eddie hates these glasses. We bought these because I'm I want some different frames, and we bought them, and then I can see really well out of them, but we don't like them. And then I forgot that I had them on. All right. Donna R wants everybody to hit that like button. Hit that like button. So my question to you, because they say the economy is strong, they don't think that, there's anything, they don't understand why we feel so terrible about the economy right now. Do you think that these home prices are going to continue to go up? Do you think that we're still going to see constant growth of the housing market? Or do you think that the things are going to taper back or maybe even stall like they did before? Everything is money, money, money. Where's the financial crash? I can't answer that for you. Lanita Shield says, question, is it mandatory for insurance even if the house is paid for in full? You are not required. This is pretty much every state, but you may want to check with your state. But if you have a fully paid mortgage and you have not, you don't have any mortgage tied to it, no loans against your home, you are not required to keep insurance. But if it was me, especially if you live in an area that's prone to weather events, I would definitely have like wind, hailstorm damage, that kind of thing. If you want to chance it for other things, I mean, that's entirely up to you. But this is the biggest investment that you have in your life. If it was me, I would want to insure it. Like I have a car, that's bought and paid for, and all I have is liability. So that way, if I hurt somebody, that their car gets fixed, but I don't give a poop what happens to my car. But it's kind of a little bit different when it comes to your house. You're going to have to live there for the rest of your life. And I mean, are you going to be able to decide to get a loan to repair your house? I mean, it can cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars to repair a house. And I've seen it here myself when we had flooding that came in 2016. And a lot of people had the minimum flood insurance required, meaning that they only had it for the structure of the house itself. All their contents inside were not covered. And at first they're like, oh, it all can be replaced. And then you start adding that all up, all those things that you had inside that house. And you got to remember, this is a flood. So everything has been touched by mold, everything. So like, those pictures, everything's gone. And then you try to save things, them, and then you put them off to the side. And then one day you turn around the corner and sure enough, the whole damn thing is covered in mold because it's fast growing. And so, I mean, you're taking a risk if you decide not to have insurance. You are not required, if you have paid your home in full, to have insurance, but you're taking a huge risk. That was a great question, though. Super good question. And you don't have to. You can arrange your policy to fit your specific needs. There's like, and even the amount that you're put down for your deductible and how much you want to cover for your insurance, that is all part of your insurance premium plan. You can discuss that with your insurance agent, but you definitely don't have to. Yep. So next question. That was a great one. I love good questions. Happy birthday, MH08. Happy birthday. Are we 21 again? I've been telling everybody I'm 65, so they'll tell me I look good. Your husband is so right. Your hair looks amazing. Thank you. I just didn't want it this dark, but whatevs. Thank you. I even, like my next video, I have it where like half the video, I have my blonde hair and then the other half, I have this hair. Yep. Look at her. Texas hurricane #1 is coming, praying for y'all. So yeah, if you haven't seen, they kind of changed the trajectory of Burl. Last week we talked about it. I said, I don't care where you live, as long as you live on that coast in the Gulf, you should go ahead and get prepared. I don't know if you guys know this. Do you know that if you have your house under contract and you're about to close, and even though the hurricane's like nowhere near your house, you can't close on it? Like, our insurance companies here will not allow you close on that house if there's a hurricane in the Gulf. You can't do it. Can't do it. Can't close on it. Wild, right? So you're going to have to wait until it passes. And then they have to come back out, assess the damage, if there is any damage to the house, to see if you can close on the house. Yep. Earth 3D view. What's that, Eddie? Eddie wants to show us something. Oh, this is the new trajectory. Yep. Is it going to hit Houston now? Because that looks like more like Houston. They were saying Corpus Christi. I mean, anywhere, if I lived anywhere along that coastline in Texas, Christina would be definitely prepared, more than prepared. Because I mean, hurricanes suck. And I don't know if you know, like, if you lose electricity, it can be days. One time we were here, it was 14 days, no electricity. It's absolutely excruciatingly hot here too. Miserable. So imagine having a hurricane and your house flooded and you have no electricity. It's awful. Karen says, I lived in Nevada in 2008. There were issues with the schools not having the expected students. No one was living in the houses. People were buying and holding them for 6 months and then flipping them. You know what? I've forgotten about that. That is a true statement. I can honestly say most of the people that I have dealt with and have been talking to across the United States, this expansion of the housing market this time was not the same as it was last time. Last time, like you said, there was a ton of flippers, house flippers, investors, people that saw HGTV and decided that they were going to be, they're going to make their next millions. And then we had all these excess houses on the market and some of them were flipped really badly. I'm not seeing the flippers. What they're doing, if they're flipping them, they're just fixing them up just for renting. They're investors that are investing just to rent, not to flip a buck right away. So Jeffrey has a question that says, I've noticed the vast difference between Dallas Metro and STL Metro in the past week while on vacation. Dallas is booming and STL is stagnant. I believe we're seeing two versions of an economy. Yes. So if you go to any major city, and it doesn't matter what state you're in. I live outside of Baton Rouge. If you go to New Orleans, it's a completely, totally different housing market. They actually have a decrease in home prices because of the insurance issue. We are not seeing that here in Baton Rouge. They're having more of a stagnant market in certain price points. We're not seeing that here. Even in the historic area where those houses, those $1 million houses that are so incredibly beautiful, those houses are sitting. Normally those historic homes that look like that, they sell very quickly, even though, it's a very small portion of the market that can afford them. Usually the people that buy them cash. The problem is that insurance companies either A, won't insure them, or B, the insurance is way too high. I just saw a lady on the news the other day. It was her house that she bought in 1995. And she couldn't do it. She was like, my insurance would cost me $3,500 a month just to maintain this house. And she didn't have a mortgage. So yeah, I agree. San Antonio too, totally different housing market. Totally different housing market. My 16-year-old cat gave a thumbs up. I don't know if I could told you guys, we got another cat. I swear I'm not a cat hoarder. I swear. They're all very well taken care of. But yeah, so now we have 9 cats. I am the crazy cat lady, but these cats are they are living the lap of luxury. When I die, I want to come back as one of my cats because they have the life. Richard Head says, how much should I invest in my current house if I plan to plan relocating in the next 4 to 5 years? How much should I invest in my current home if I plan on keeping it if I plan on relocating the next 4 to 5 years. Well, that would depend on the condition of your home, right? If the condition of your home is needing repair, then I would address all those issues, whether you're planning to move in 10 years or 2 years. If your kitchen is out of whack and needs a good scrub down and needs to be updated, always go into your kitchens and bathrooms and update them. The amount you should update would be determined on the area and how much what's comparable in your neighborhood. You don't want to overdo it. So you may want to just check with a local real estate agent in your area and ask them how much the comps are, and then see what else has sold in that area and what condition of the house was in when it sold for that amount of money, and then go from there. Are you a lawyer or a doctor? Your glasses gave you away. No, I'm just a silly realtor. Thomas Morris says, question, what will convince people to buy? There is actually never a great time to buy because there is always risk and a change in the economy. Always. There is no magic number for a person to feel comfortable to buy a house. It always comes down to, no matter what market you're in, are you planning on staying there for more than a few years? If you're only planning on staying in the house for 3, maybe 4 years, I would seriously reconsider purchasing a house. I don't care what market you're in. Just think about that for a minute. If you're planning on staying 7 to 10 years, then yeah, I would consider doing that. Unless you have a lot of financial cushion if the market goes sideways, that would be the only way I would say, go for it. But it's an independent thing. You have to check your finances. You're going to have to check with a financial advisor. You're really going to have to check with the lender, see if that meets your loan terms. Everybody's going to have a different situation, whether they should or shouldn't buy a house. And don't listen to the lady at the coffee shop telling you, don't buy because I said, I heard on the news, it's an election year. You don't want to do that. That is the weirdest thing ever. Don't buy a house during an election year. To this day, I've heard this since I was like a wee little Kristina. Don't buy during an election year. Where does that come from? Why is that a thing? 3 is considered a cat lady starter kit. Oh, I don't think that's a cat lady starter kit. I thought the cat lady starter kit was 5. Yeah. We only let visitors to Dallas to see the good parts. I love Dallas. I've visited there many, 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 many times. Dallas is beautiful. Yep. Dallas is beautiful. Holy cow. This is Charlie Midnight Madness 4x4. If y'all like monster trucks, go over to Charlie Midnight Madness's channel. He's a friend of mine. Jeffrey also says, I'd also like to add, Dallas is beautiful. While I was down there, spoke to locals, and over 8.2 million people live there. They have at least 50 large neighborhoods being built. Love Dallas. I like Dallas. The food is good. You can find anything from all 4 corners of the world. If you were hungry for anything, that's in Dallas. And they have the food scene is chef's kiss. Oh, Thomas says his cat enjoys the YouTube channel. I want to know, did they watch TV? My cats watch TV, but they like cartoons. Oh, look, it's my Perazzo bag lady. I love my bag, by the way. Overjoyed says, how many litter boxes are you using once you have? I once had 8 cats. So we have 4 of those little robot things, that constantly spin around. And then we have 1, 2, 3 of the regular litter boxes around the house. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's what we have. And then Eddie's, my husband is a clean freak. So that thing is in pristine condition. Matter of fact, he cleaned up the whole thing today. By 2030, all baby boomers will be over the age of 65. Won't this impact housing prices as these homeowners begin to pass away fast? Okay, that's called the silver tsunami. And since, oh my God, for the last 10 years, they were saying that baby boomers were going to go ahead and sell their older homes, freeing up the market for millennials to buy their house because they were going to go and retire somewhere else. But what really happened was baby boomers decided, you know what? This is two things actually happened. You know what? It's too expensive for me to retire anyplace else. I'm going to go ahead and age in place. That's one scenario. The other scenario is they invested really well over their lifetimes and they were like, you know what? I want to keep the home that our kids grew up with. And I want to go ahead and buy another house in Florida. And I'll buy one more in Las Vegas because we like the, casinos. So they end up having three properties. Baby boomers own a boatload of real estate. And matter of fact, they bought a truckload during the last like little housing boom that we just had over the pandemic. Boomers own houses. But with that being said, the difference in the market today and the players that we have in the housing market today, especially with smaller homes, is not the average person buying a house. It's institutional investors, those people that run REITs, those private equity firms, BlackRock, Blackstone, Tricon, America Homes for Rent. They are trying to corner the housing market with as many rentals as possible. So if those homes were to go on the market or in foreclosure, if they go in foreclosure, they're going to scoop them up first, or they go in the market, they have deeper pockets to bid out anybody that was looking to buy the house in the area. And they are so tactical on what they're doing that they try to corner certain markets in around the city so they know and dictate how much rent prices are in that area. They've done it all over Atlanta. There's a whole map that if you look it up, there's a whole map of where the private equity firms have bought, so they own the most rentals in the area, so they dictate rental prices. And that's going to be the difference as we face more if we see more and more houses from baby boomers getting onto the market. That's what I mean. We just don't have the same kind of supply of houses available to younger people, and the people that are buying are going to be able to buy are going to have way deeper pockets than we do. And then I'm talking about like major cities, but even the smaller cities, like they had it like in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and like some smaller cities that you wouldn't even think of. They were doing that. Ready for hurricane season. What is this? Are you picking insurance? Oh, it was an ad. 44% of flipped single family home purchases were by private investors in 2023. Yep. So all they're doing is flipping them to rent them. Yep. 44% of flipped homes were from private investors. Private equity firms have been carving out an increasingly substantial share of the single family homes purchasing, raising concerns about their potential consequences for house affordability and the market competitiveness. And we saw that during the pandemic, home prices rose because a lot of those houses were bought by like even Zillow at the time. So it made home prices even, go up even higher. Recent data reveals that that in the third quarter of 2023, these financial entities accounted for 44% of purchases of flipped single-family homes. Medium reports citing the Business Insider study. The surge in activity marks a significant departure from traditional real estate dynamics and ushers in a new era of institutional investment. The practice has not only raised eyebrows, but also fears as the growing footprint of private equity raises critical questions on its role in raising real estate prices and potentially sidelining the individual buyer. Yeah. How long have we been sounding the alarm here on this channel about that? I mean, all the way back, way before the pandemic, 2018, I started talking about private equity firms buying up mobile home parks and what they were doing there. But, that isn't sexy. Nobody wants to hear about that. They think, well, that's so far removed from what is happening in my neighborhood. But now it's in all neighborhoods. And it's just like the insurance. They're like, oh, it's not going to affect me. It's not going to affect me. And, that now the insurance is affecting a lot of people. And it has the same thing to do with taxes. All the homeowners were like, my value of my house went up $100,000. Oh, look, it's now up $200,000. Well, now they got their property tax bill and they're like, oh, wow, this is really bad. And their insurance went up. Yeah. So, Julie Marson says, if housing prices drop, are you and you're upside down on your mortgage, is it impossible to refinance as rates drop? That will depend on your lender, because a lot of lenders, it doesn't behoove them to try to find a new buyer to your house. That whole thing with the last housing crash taught them one thing: dealing with short sales and renegotiating, like having to negotiate with realtors that are with the new home buyers that are purchasing the house, and the responsibility of the house and taking care of the house while it's going through that foreclosure process. They would much rather negotiate with you for you to stay in your house than to have it be put on the market, because it takes them a long time, right? And then they have to weatherize the house and they have to inspect the house. And if somebody vandalizes the house, then the house goes down in price even more. And it's a big giant headache for them. They hate it. So what they would love to do is like, okay, here, what's your pay stubs? Have you been working still? Have you been doing this? You can negotiate in a lot of cases with many banks your loan again. And I know the guy who bought my house, he renegotiated his loan for the new value of it when he bought my house in Florida, because it had gone down so much, and he was able to redo the whole thing, and he was able to stay in the house. So it is possible.
Super
chat. Thank you. Teflon Dawn says, hope everybody's having a great one. Be safe. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I appreciate you, Teflon Dawn. Teflon Dawn. All right. Betty Boo says, if you can't fight these large corporate landlords, why not join them, and so you can benefit from owning residential real estate? Eddie and I own a rental property. Actually, we have two. We have it. I don't necessarily follow what the market tells us that we need to rent the house for, though, because I personally don't need that. But they're about to have an increase, not because we need to make more money from the house. It's because our insurance for that house has gone up so much. And anybody that has any kind of rental properties knows that property insurance for rental properties is way higher than it is for your house that you live in, your regular dwelling. Yeah, sucks. But I didn't want to raise the rent. The only reason I have to is because of the insurance. So why are they saying that 2026 is going to be the year to buy? We want to buy, but it's supposed to happen. What is supposed to happen? Interest rates drop, or houses prices are going to drop? Everybody loves it. Hold on. I'm going to do this one thing for you. Hold on. I have something for you. Hold on. Longtime watchers know what I'm going to do. Everybody loves to do this. Ooh, they want to do those crystal ball predictions. And at the beginning of this year, they said, by the summertime, we're going to see interest rates in the fives. The Fed's going to drop rates and the bonds market is going to recover, and we're going to have cheap money again. And people held on to that hope, thinking that by the summertime, we're going to see interest rates in the fives again. Well, guess what? The experts were wrong, and they're not in the fives. And so the only thing I will tell you to do is, if you're planning on staying in a house for the next 7 to 10 years, and you're in the financial position to buy yourself a house now, and you're just thinking, well, I don't know, I should wait for this magic moment that's supposed to happen in 2026 because the newspaper said so. Don't do that. If you want to buy, you plan on staying there for several years, talk to your loan officer. If it's a payment that works for you, and you're not living in an area that has like high risk as far as insurance rates, then, consider buying a house now. Don't listen to what some girl on a YouTube channel said, like, just make your decision for yourself, educated decision, but make it for yourself. There's no concrete answer to what was going to happen in 2026 to the housing market. And just like these experts say that, there's no signs that the housing market is going to crash. They're not even, they're saying, oh, the jobs market is so strong and, the economy is bouncing back. But here we are sitting here, and I can tell you, like, for myself, I mean, I don't feel like the economy is bouncing back. I don't feel like, that we've tampered down, inflation. None of that. I'm not feeling that anywhere I go. And so I don't know. They can print whatever they want. They can print whatever they want. So Thomas says, are you planning to retire in Portugal? I'd like to retire in Spain or Portugal. That is on my number one list. That is the top list for Eddie and I to retire, is in Portugal. I have a desire to leave the Americas. My brother has said he really likes Costa Rica. I have talked to many friends who are in Thailand, and they enjoy that. I've talked to many people that have retired to the Philippines. The amount of growth from expats in all of these areas is so large. There's actually like whole neighborhoods just full of Americans that have retired. So yeah, I think the new American dream is to retire in another country. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel that way. Libra Girl says, I purchased my first home back in 2021. The sale price and the pictures are still listed on Realtor. How do I remove them and that information from the site? So what you need to do is, first, you need to contact the person that had the house listed originally. So you contact them. And if that real estate agent will not remove the pictures, then you contact their broker. So let's just say it's Kim Jones with ABC Realty. You call Kim Jones up and Kim says, well, I'm not taking them down. Those are pictures I paid for. And you're like, okay. So you find out who the broker is for ABC Realty. And then you call the broker up and say, hey, look, this is my information for my house. I do not want this here. I want it to be removed from the website, at least the photographs, and then change up the description of the house in the written section. They can't change anything as far as anything that's like far as tax code or anything like that, because it's public record. But all the other information, identifying information that's in the description, you can have them edit that out as well. If they say no, then you contact the local MLS board and say, hey, look, I want this information removed from all your syndicated websites because my house is still on there. And the last thing you can do is you can contact realtor.com themselves. You can email them their contact support and say, hey, I want my house off of there. I'm concerned for my personal safety, and they should take care of it. Most of those websites are pretty good about that. Some of the bigger ones are not necessarily, but realtor.com seems to be a better one than others. Another thing too, if you are concerned about your safety, is you can have Google, like Google Maps, blur out your house. So you can look into that as well. Cherokee Fox says, can you comment on your opinion on a home in buying in Savannah, Georgia? A home buying in Savannah, Georgia. I know nothing about that market. I mean, I don't know anything about that specific real estate market to make a comment on it. I can look into it. I will look into it. Now that you brought it up, now it's going to be in my brain. I'll be sitting there when I'm about to go to sleep and be like, oh my gosh, I need to look at Savannah and see how it's doing. So Mountain Tactical says, question, I'm closing on moving forward towards purchasing a new home in a different state. I don't know how the process will be since I don't live there yet. Any suggestions on what to do? Move forward. Okay, so what I do first is try to get in contact with a real estate agent in that specific area. If you don't happen to have a real estate agent, I'm actually connected with thousands across the country. Just go to my website, KristinaSmallhorn.com, click on one of the pink tabs, and fill out the form, and I'll give you a call. We'll talk about it. But the next thing you can do is start just going on the major websites and seeing what's available in your price range. If you do not know what your price range is yet, go ahead and get in contact with a lender in the area that you're buying a house, a local lender in the area that you're buying a house, and get yourself pre-approved so that way you know what your price point is, how much you're willing to spend. Also, you may want to check as you're looking at some of these houses, how much is the insurance? How much are the taxes in that area? Because that makes a huge difference. Because like I could qualify to buy a house, let's just say for $450,000. But to buy a $450,000 house in, let's just say, Louisiana is going to be totally different than it would be in Connecticut, because the property insurance and taxes are so much different, so much different. So always put that in consideration first. So that's what I would do. Those would be my first steps before you really start like getting boots on the ground, start running and looking at houses and getting too excited. Get yourself pre-qualified. Libra Girl is on it. She said, oh, Eddie, we already put this one up here. We talked about this already. Eddie's snoozing. He's snoozing. What happened? Yeah. And that, you know what? I wanted to point that out while he's finding the next question. If you, no matter what the situation is, if you ever want to have your home blurred out by Google, you can request that to be blurred out for your, you know, for your own safety. Now, I realize that like tax records for houses, you can't avoid that. I mean, it's public record. People know if you own that house or whatever. But at least you can have it blurred out so it isn't just so visible what your house looks like, and make it, you know, add more identifying features to your home. So there are many signs of a correction. I concur. I do. And I think it isn't going to be like the crash that they said it was going to be. It's not going to be like, you know, people taking 50% less for their house unless they have no choice. So, and I think that the home prices are probably going to stay steady because we're going to have enough investors that are buying up the houses as they, you know, levelize. Hey, cool glasses. Eddie bought them for me. I told him I have circular ones normally. I said, I really like the circular ones, but I want to know if I can find ones that are square. And he found them. My kids don't like them. They think they're ugly. Iceland would be another good choice, except for it's very expensive. Very expensive. Yeah. Iceland is very expensive. Oh. See, Randy knows. Yep, Randy knows. He says it right there. His son traveled there for 2 weeks. It's very expensive. It's beautiful, but expensive. Proud Liberal 24, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you in here. It says, how do you know if your agent has given you an accurate listing price, number of showings in the first 2 weeks, quick offers, etc.? How do you know if the agent is giving you the accurate listing price? Well, the listing price for a home is always published. It's always published. You know, it's published on the MLS. It's published on, you know, Realtor.com, Zillow. That price will not change across all the syndicated websites. That's about the price. Now, the numbers of showings in 2 weeks, they can say any number they want to. They can lie, and they do lie. And some of them will say, well, we have an offer, but we'll hold off and wait for yours to come in. They'll do that garbage too. They all do it. It's like pressure sales. They're not legally required to disclose how many showings they have. There's no ethical in our ethics to say they can't say that they had several showings. There's nothing to say that they can't. It's stupid. I wouldn't do it, but I'm not everybody. I don't know what that says. Oh, pleased to meet you. Yep. Yep. Question. When you blur your home on Google Maps, all the other homes will no longer get get drive-bys, street views, updates ever again, too, just for an FYI. Well, that works for me, especially if you don't like your neighbors. Who cares? Yeah. How important is the staging in the sale of a house if it's worth is it worth the money? All right, this is so incredibly market driven. So, back in of course when, anybody could have sold anything during the pandemic, staging was out the window. Nobody did it. I mean, walked in houses and people's beds were unmade. They like you could tell they just took a shower. The steam was still on the walls and everything. I mean, some of them didn't even clean. They didn't even care because they knew that the house was going to sell and was going to sell for top dollar. As a market adjusts and you see areas that are seeing a correction, the need for you to stage it becomes more elevated. So that again is going to be market driven. What is your market doing? Are you seeing a lot of houses that are sitting on the market for more than 90 days? And the ones that are selling, are they selling for less money than what they were listed for? If that's the case, then you probably need to stage your house and stage it in a way that's going to make it more appealing for a home buyer in your area. But if things are still moving along, you may not need it. You may not need it. In most cases, people just need to declutter their crap. Like we typically, we as in people are crap collectors. We love to collect as much garbage as we can. We put too much crap on shelves. We stuff our kitchen cabinets full of more stuff. Then our closets are even filled with even more stuff. And then our attics even have more stuff. And then our garages even have more stuff. Take all of that stuff out, put it in a storage unit. Something as simple as that is staging. And it makes your house feel bigger, more inviting, and it makes it appear that it has more storage than it does because you took all your crap out. And then another form of staging, simple form of staging, is repaint your house. You don't have to change the color in a lot of cases. A lot of times it just needs a fresh coat of paint. And even if you painted 5 years ago, you're like, oh, it still looks good. I'm telling you, a fresh coat of paint makes all the difference in the world. Paint it. That's another form of staging. And it's inexpensive. Jameson says, do you think the new rules for buyers agents will make it more difficult and more expensive for buyers, or could it help lower home prices? It depends on your agent's negotiation skills, right? So some real estate agents, as you know, are not worth their weight in poop. They don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to negotiate a contract. And everybody I've dealt with that I've been in the business for numerous years, it's still business as usual. The only thing is, it's just a little bit more papers. And they have gone in with their buyers and say, hey, we need the sellers to pay the buyer agent broker's fees. They fill that out. They fill it all out. It's just another piece of paper, and everything has been the same. But there's going to be some real estate agents they're going to have to dip out because they do not know how to negotiate a contract. And we'll see what happens. I think this is one of those things where it's called thinning the herd. The people that know how to represent their buyers and sellers correctly as real estate agents are going to thrive. And a lot of that dead weight of agents that have, do this as a second job, they don't take it too seriously. They sell their 3 homes a year just to get that little extra spend money during Christmas. You're going to see those people, wade their way out. It's expensive to be a real estate agent. All of these things that we have to pay for is very expensive. And if you can't negotiate a contract, you're not going to be able to close those 3 deals or 5 deals a year that you have. So, like I said, the strong will survive, and not much will change if you have a good real estate agent. Jeffrey says, I know some people have bought homes and have hidden the information behind the shell company or a trust, unsure of the process. Now So here in Louisiana, which I always thought really sucked, was that a company could buy a house, redo everything in the house, but when it came to the property disclosure, since they never lived in the house, they disclosed nothing. They didn't disclose that they replaced the roof, that they redid the bathrooms, that they took down walls, nothing, because they never actually physically lived in the house. They didn't have to fill out the property disclosure. This is not true in every single state. So you can always look on the tax assessor's website. It's public information to see who owns the house. And you can go from there and make your decision from there. No matter what piece of property you're buying, though, always, for the love of Pete, get a home inspector. And then people say, oh, they're a waste of money. No, they're not. Just like bad real estate agents, there's bad home inspectors and there's good home inspectors. There's bad real estate agents and there's good real estate agents. And if you find yourself a good home inspector that will look over the house, they will tell you. I've had some of them walk up and they were like, oh, well, let's go in this house again. I know it's a flip. We were here 2 weeks ago. Let's see if they fixed anything that they were supposed to fix the last time, and they do a whole report pretty much, covering everything and some new things that they ended up finding the second time around because they didn't fix the things the first time around, leaks and all sorts of stuff. So home flippers are always the worst. Jolting says home prices will only correct when investors start losing money and they want to stop bleeding. You're right. You're 100% right. Yep. Proud Liberal 24 says, what would you do with your stuff when you sell your house, aka the clutter, photos, comic book collections and stuff? What am I going to do with it? I'm going to digitally scan all that stuff, but I'm not keeping figurines. I am making this as low key as possible because all this stuff is just stuff. I'm going to sell it all, right? But, anything I have to dust, that is not coming with me. I can get a new bed when I get there. I don't need that. I can sell that. That stuff is heavy. I'm not gonna ship it over, but pictures and that kind of stuff, yeah, that's coming with. And I'll digitally scan it. It says, do you think buyers will choose to have the buyer's agent? Choose not to have a buyer's agent to save money and reduce the number of agents. So it's very possible you could see a bunch of people go at it by themselves, but that's always been the case. There was never a rule or law that said you couldn't buy a house without a realtor. Nobody has ever said that. I think the confidence in people to do it is a little bit higher now because it isn't, they see this new ruling. They're like, oh, good. I don't need a real estate agent anymore. I'm just going to go ahead and buy their house. Once enough people see that the listing agent is savvy enough to fill out that contract to represent their buyers and not really the sellers, and there's no liability to that real estate agent because they were doing exactly what they were supposed to do, which is they were contracted to represent the sellers. Enough people lose enough money buying a house, they're gonna find out. I think that honestly, this whole thing is opening up a big can of worms for liability on all sides. And I think as the pendulum swung this way, it's going to swing this way again at some point. All in all, the whole thing is just going to make the industry even stronger. And I think we're going to get rid of a lot of dead weight. So poll says signs of the housing crash, 30% say yes, 32% no. 24% said depends, and 14% said not sure. I wonder how many of those people actually, out of how many people answered it. Horn Construction, welcome to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. It says, question, the real estate agent has to negotiate their own commission, correct? All right, so the listing agent who lists the house has already made that negotiations with the seller, so he or she already knows how much that the brokerage is going to get. A buyer's agent that comes in, they are going to negotiate with the buyer itself before they even show houses. They're going to explain to them, hey, this is how much my broker is saying that we're charging for our services. This is how much we'll pay if the seller is unwilling to pay the brokerage fees. In a lot of cases, I've seen over the last several weeks, almost all of them, the sellers are still paying the buyers, brokers' fees. They're still paying them, but we still have the paper signed. A lot of states already had that implemented, that you had to have a buyer's brokerage agreement. And like I said, it hasn't changed much yet. I don't think we're going to see the full impact until we see like a full year of what's going to happen. So yes, it's always, everything is negotiable. It always has been. CE Rouse says, if the buyers are potentially required to pay the buyer's agent fee, how can we be sure the seller hasn't incorporated that fee in the house price, i.e. avoid potential paying double fee? There's no answer for that. There's no answer for that. There's no way to find out what the seller, why they decided to price the house the way they priced it. But this is no different in real estate than it has been when somebody was selling their house for sale by owner. Whenever you dealt with a person that decided to not work with a real estate agent, when selling their house, they're selling it for sale by owner. I, as an agent, have these clients and I say, hey, I have these clients. Here's their qualifications. They've already been pre-qualified. I would like to bring them by at 3:00. Are you willing to pay my brokerage the X amount of fee to bring these buyers in? The majority said, yeah, go ahead and bring your buyers in. This is exactly what we're willing to pay. Thank you, seller. And that was it. In some cases, they say no. And then if they said no, I would tell my buyers, I'm like, look, if you really like this house, you're more than welcome to see it, but they're unwilling to work with a real estate agent. You can go over there and look at it. If you decide that you want to buy it, you could either pay the brokerage, my broker, the fee that is required, or you can go at it by yourself and not have any real estate agents involved. Every single one I've ever done over the last 15 and a half years have said, I don't even want to see the house if they're unwilling to work with a real estate agent. I don't know anything about the contract. Let's just find another house. Yeah. Says, instead of a home inspector, I would get a plumber to inspect and a roofer to inspect. And yeah, and that's true. You can do that as well. I've seen that happen. Like somebody hired an HVAC person to review the whole HVAC system. I saw somebody, I saw them do the whole thing with different individual people to come out. The problem with that is that a lot of these companies are doing that for zero cost because they're looking to have, they're looking to have you as a customer, right? If they get backlogged with a bunch of this kind of like free inspections because they're looking for work, they're going to start not taking them. So just be very careful on, taking up these people's time without paying them for their time. Jeffrey says, if the Biden administration passes the $10K first-time homebuyers credit, do you believe that it would further make our dollar lower in value or make homes more expensive in the long run? Anytime there is any credit to first-time home buyers, it always drives up the price of first-time homes. Always. You know what? You don't even have to look at the Biden administration. Go look up Australia's first-time buyer or home buyers initiative and see what happened to home prices because the government gave money for homes. It made home prices explode. Right now, we have a lack of supply. So the credit shouldn't be for first-time home buyers. The credit should be for sellers of homes, let's just say, that are under 2,000 square feet, that have been, that need to come on the market. That would be the best initiative. And I will say this, a lot of times it doesn't matter what political party, they'll have initiatives, they'll have ideas, things that they say in speeches, but they never come to fruition ever. There's been 2 administrations that I have spoken under this channel, and both of them wanted to address the affordable housing issue. And both of them said a lot of words, and neither one of them did a literally diddly squat. They just put out a lot of stuff that sounded really good. It didn't do anything to help the affordability crisis, which it was already in the crux way before the pandemic. It just became much more aware to the everyday person because of the pandemic. It fast forwarded what it was inevitable. It was going to happen anyways, whether the pandemic was here or not. It just fast forwarded it by about 8 years. I've been warning about this forever. I already knew we weren't building enough small homes. I already knew there was affordability crisis. I already saw that home prices were getting out of reach for most Americans. And then the pandemic hit, and now it's at ridiculous levels. Nobody wanted to listen then because it wasn't in front of them. Now everybody's upset about it. And I thank God. So hopefully one administration, any administration will address it. But most of the time it's just a lot of lip service. So we have two economies, some that are living mortgage free and some that are taking out second mortgages to pay first. You know what? I've been saying this, like it's the economy of people that are complaining about grocery prices, and then the economy of people like, oh, I didn't even notice they went up. One reason economists believe that the resistance exists is the greater buffer of homeowners now from spiked interest rates. Not only is the 96% of mortgage debt in U.S. fixed rate, but 0.5% of homeowners don't have a mortgage at all. Well, those are the boomers. 40% of the people that own homes don't even have a mortgage. Those are the boomers. Yeah. Oh, and institutional investors, they don't have mortgages. I bet you half of them don't even have insurance on it. I wonder if they have to. Ooh, I'm going to have to look that up. I wonder if it's a requirement, if it's under a business name, that you are required to have insurance on the property if it has no mortgage, because it's part of the investment portfolio. I'll have to look that up. Foreign insurance says, so the buyer's agent can advertise the lowest rates for their service, or the people will just contact the buyer agent directly. You can do that. Yep. I've seen it like where people are like doing a la carte service. They're like, I'll take you to the house to just show you the house. So if you want to charge me for per showing, this is how much, this is how much I charge for me to open a door and show you inside the house and stay with you during that. But if that's the only that's the only service that you're going to pay for, right? Then they'll say, if you want me to open doors and fill out the contract but do nothing else, then that's another service fee. I don't know if I could do that. Like, what I do for my business is what I do for my business, and you either get all or nothing. I'm not doing it a la carte, but some agents are going to do that, especially newer ones, because they don't have a choice. You got to make it. You got to hit the, you got to have to do the hard stuff first. Jeffrey says, as always, great show. Enjoy the questions and answers. Enjoy the weekly education seminar. Kristina, you rock. Thank you. I'm glad you guys like my hair, man. Because honestly, if I'm gonna be really honest with you, Kristina hates it. She really hates it a lot. I mean, I was really bored with the blonde and my hair felt like hay and I was ready to let it go. But I really hate this color. With the burning intensity of 1,001 suns. This is not what I wanted. Polly Fox says, Kristina, what do you think about this new law in Indiana where you must, in order to see a property in the state of Louisiana effective July, you have to enter in a buyer's exclusive agency? That's how all of them are. That isn't just Indiana. That's every state. In order for us to open the door, you have to enter into some kind of agency agreement. You have to. Yep. Eddie loves it. Eddie loves it. That's all right. Chuck. Oh, I wish I had that sticker. There's an old video out there where I go, Chuck, look what the name is doing. Chuck 750 says, question, can sellers ask buyers agreed what the commission they agreed on? Can the sellers ask the buyer? Can the sellers ask buyers agree what the commission they're on? Everything's negotiable. Everything isn't negotiable. If you want to negotiate your commissions, you can. The sellers do not have to disclose how much they are willing to pay. They don't have to disclose that. That's what that whole lawsuit was about. This is what the part that screws my head up. It was like 10 years ago, the DOJ said, by law, you have to advertise exactly how much the buyer's agent is getting. And it has to be on all advertising so the public is aware how much the buyer's agent is making on the deal in order to get the house closed. You had to do that. You had to. Now they have done a total like flip over and say, absolutely not. Now everything's behind closed doors and nobody knows how much anybody's getting paid. Really? That's the better plan. That's the better plan. Oh, I didn't know if you guys knew this too. The people that sued and won are now like going to sue again because they felt like they didn't get enough money. So they're going to sue for even more money. They agreed upon it. Now they're not agreeing on the cost because they're not going to get enough money. Do you know who's going to win from all of this? Do you know who wins from all of this? It isn't the public. It's the lawyers. It's the lawyers. All right. That was a great question, Chuck. Good question. So everybody, look, it's been an hour. The poll says we had 474 votes. So in the yes and no was basically tied. If you think they were going to crash. Hey, Jerry says, hey, Kristina, I contacted Westchester Modulars. I will let you know how it goes. All right, Jerry, fantastic. Yep, I was there last week or 2 weeks ago. All right, everybody, look, anything that happens in the real estate market and it's really significant, we're going to be talking about it next week. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I've never asked people to do that, so I figured I'd ask today. And just know that this week the video is coming out on Tuesday. It is going to be about the insurance prices and that it isn't just affecting Louisiana. If you want to get a hold of me, go to my website, KristinaSmallhorn.com, hit on one of the pink buttons, fill out the form, make sure you put your phone number so I can give you a call. If you want to listen to this as a podcast, you can go to anywhere you listen to your podcast, search up my name, Kristina Smallhorn, Real Estate for Everyone, and you can listen to this as a podcast. And if you wanted to, you can even share it with your friends as well. I hope everybody has a fantastic week. I hope you had a good 4th of July. If you happen to live in Texas, make sure you're good and prepared by now. And I hope everybody has a fantastic week. Thank you so much. So long. Oh, Eddie, do we have some closeout music? I'm glad you guys like my music. I'm happy with it, but whatever. Okay. Oh.